Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. What if I told you there was a brand new event in Marvel Future Fight that we had never seen before, and for some accounts it represents the most valuable event ever created in the game, and possibly ever created in the game in the future? Yeah, it's crazy. On top of that, the Discord voted and they chose this event as the next video with only 700 votes. I mean, 700 is still a lot, but if you don't feel like this is enough, you can join the Discord, discord.gg/thenewmeta, and have your voice heard on the next poll. But the character upgrade support event guide got the most votes, and I think actually 54% on Discord is kind of an overwhelming majority, because there's usually not that much cohesion and sort of agreement amongst players. But what am I talking about? Well, the character upgrade support event, the double chunk chocolate cookie. This event is really good. It's fantastic. I have to give it to the devs. Short round of applause here. But let's dive into exactly what this means. When you're presented with this, and this event is live for the next 12 days, which does matter if you choose the left-hand side, but also matters if you choose the right-hand side. You get access to one of two buffs. You only get one of the two buffs, and you can see when you choose receive support, it's going to prompt you, warning, you will not be able to receive the other buff if you choose this one, and vice versa. If you choose this one, you won't be able to receive the other one. And they essentially discount the cost of either tier 4, a tier 4 character, or tier 3 and transcended characters. And the discounts are a little bit different. They're quite a bit different, actually. And so you can see there's a 25% discount. And if you click on the little magnifying glass, it gives you more detail. There's a 25% discount off of gear upgrade materials, which is the, Essence of Dimension, Titan component packs, and 25% off the advancement, which includes the Titan component packs, the CCF, the Essence of Dimension, and the books. Now, for the books, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to round down from 7.5 down to 7 or up to 8, so it's a bit unclear. I haven't seen a screenshot of it. If anyone has that information, that would be fantastic for the community. But yeah, so I'm guessing it should be 7 books, and it should be whatever 600 CCF instead of 800 for tier 3s. Transcended characters don't need CCF for the advancement, but you get 25% off, 25% haircut, shaved off every single character that you want to tier 3 and transcend for the duration of this event. That's crazy. On the other hand, you have tier 4s, and you can get a discount for one tier 4, and it's a 15% discount. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I put it that way, Alex, it sounds crazy. Why would anyone choose the left side over the right side? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. One, tier 4s are stronger than tier 3s and transcended characters by a large margin. If you've been away from the game for a while, there's a huge power gap between tier 4s and tier 3s, so it's not really a situation where you can say, oh, well, I have 3 tier 3s, so that's like about as strong as a tier 4. No, not even close. Not even close. Secondly, although it's only a 15% discount, when you click on the magnifying glass and you look at the list, you will see Odin, you will see Ebony Maw, Mr. Fantastic, Quicksilver, and any other native tier 2, tier 4s that you haven't already upgraded. They will be available. So you can choose a native tier 2, tier 4. In my case, I'm probably going to choose Quicksilver. You can use them to get that discount. So although it's not as good of a discount as this one that gives you 25% off, it does apply to native tier 2s, whereas this one does not apply to native tier 2s. For those of you wondering if this 15% discount on tier 4s that includes native tier 2s also includes native tier 3s, it does not. In the top corner, you can see a little question mark surrounded in gray, and if you hold down on that, it says support is available for characters with the following conditions, blah, 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 blah. Natural tier 3 characters are not supported. So you won't be able to do this for Sentry, and for those of you that didn't tier 4 Sentry already, you would know by not seeing him on the list. You won't be able to use this for Sentry, and you won't be able to use this for Null. But that's okay, because you can still use it on, 95% of other tier 4s that you haven't already upgraded. Now, why should you choose one or the other? Well, it essentially comes down to what your account looks like and how far along the tier 4 upgrade path you are in sort of your journey as a player. And so, yeah, if you're like me, for example, and you click this button and there's no one here, there's literally no reason for me to choose the tier 3 potential transcended support upgrade. Maybe next week they drop one tier 3. Maybe. So I get one character discounted. Not to mention the fact I don't need any of the materials because I have such a crazy surplus. The surplus you have of the materials certainly matters. Now, in this case, I do have a lot of tier 4 materials. I have like 24,000 carbonadium, but on the other hand, I have, 100, almost 200,000. You can see there, Essence of Dimension and Titan component packs. So there would be literally no reason for me to ever choose this. And so while the tier 4 upgrade is only one character and it's only 15%, it still represents way more value for me. On the other hand, there are a lot of players that when they click this magnifying glass and look at all of the tier 2 characters they have, they're going to see a lot of characters, right? They're not just going to see Hydro Man and Molten Man. They're going to see a bunch of other ones. In that case, it may be more beneficial for you to choose this one over the tier 4 buff. But let me explain a little bit further why you may still want to choose the tier 4 buff. Just because you get a 25% discount on tier 3s and Transcendeds, if your resources don't look and you don't have the surplus needed to upgrade all of those characters, particularly the gold. I think this is something that a lot of players are going to overlook until it's too late, like before it's too late. If you don't have the gold to transcend and tier 3 all those characters, even with the discount, then you're not going to be able to use the discount to its fullest. Now, there's the other question, is if you're a player who has a lot of characters that you need to tier 4, and there's a lot of characters that you need to tier 3 and transcend, you have the hardest decision to make, right? Because new players for sure should choose the tier 3 one and just go crazy for the next 12 days. For every 3 transcended or tier 3s, you'll be able to do an extra one, right? Every third one is like buy 3, get 1 free because it's 25% off, right? So you're going to be ramping. For players who are returning to the game and have no tier 4s, but have a huge surplus of materials, they're probably going to want to hit up the tier 3s and the Transcendents as well, just to fill out their roster, obviously focusing on specific leaders, the specific supports, maybe ranking up a bunch of characters who now can go to level 80 in tier 4 that they had ignored in the past. And then you have, longtime veteran players, whether they're whales or free to play, but they've been steadily playing the game for 7, 8, 9 years, and they have most tier 3 transcended characters that are good, and the only ones that are left are either kind of useless paywalls or just bad characters, right? Like Molten Man and Hydro Man. So they're for sure going to choose the tier 4 list. So I've sort of gone through and highlighted most players and kind of those easy decisions. But then you come to the players who they have some tier 4s, but they could definitely use more. I mean, pretty much everybody can use more except the people who have them all. But they also have a lot of tier 3s and transcended characters that they could upgrade that could help their account, especially supports and leaderships. So at that point, you really have to weigh the value of one character versus however many, in addition to calculating ahead of time using resources, how much you're going to need to tier 3 and transcend all of these characters. This website is thanosvibs.money, and while it has a ton of great resources, this one here is going to be the most helpful for us to discern whether or not, and for you to discern whether or not you have the materials necessary to take full advantage of that 25% discount and rapid fire like 5, 10, 15 tier 3s or transcended characters. You can see here for a native tier 1 character, and we can cycle through native tier 1, native tier 2, and native tier 3. So for the purposes of this, it's native tier 1. You can see that for gears level 15 to 20 on average, right, the mean, the average is 2.3 million gold that it's going to cost you, and this many bios and this many other materials. And then you can see the absolute max that it's going to cost you in terms of materials, and I'll make these numbers bigger here so you can sort of see the mean is what you're going to want to focus on, and then the max is like your worst case scenario. So those are the top and bottom numbers are really the ones you're going to want to focus on, and then you can see here what it's going to cost you to get their gears from 20 to 25 in that process to tier 3. And you can basically take this number, so this is about 3.5 million on the low end, or on the average, and then 5 million on the high end, and then you can deduct 25%. So 5 million is going to drop down the max to 4 million, right? So even if you assume the max here on the gears, 4 million gold, it's going to be about 3,000, what is this, black antimatter instead of 4,000. Instead of 2,000 Titan component packs and Essence of Dimension, it's going to be 1,500. And again, this is the absolute max. So maybe just to be safe, you could do this, but obviously you can work with lower numbers because on average, you're not going to see numbers this high. But so you take that number 3,000, 1,500, 1,500, and 4 million. And then you multiply it by however many characters you were hoping to tier 3 or transcend. And then you obviously have to take into account some of the other stats and some of the other resources like books, like Awakening Crystals and Mandalay Gem Fragments. But also keep in mind, over the course of this event, you will be able to farm for more. So if you do the math on your current surplus of resources, if you're a returning player or whatever, and you're like, okay, I have enough to tier 3 transcend 7 characters right now. And then over the course of the next 12 days doing the event, I'll do another 7. That's pretty damn good, dude. That's pretty damn good. That 14, right? Because for every 3, it's a buy 3, get 1 free. That's almost 5 extra tier 3s of Transcendence over the irregular amount, right? Normally without the discount, you'd be doing like 7 or 8 of them, or 9 of them. And now with the discount, you're doing almost 15. That's really, really good. Now, of course, you also have to consider there's a lot of work that you have to do that I just cannot simulate and talk about in every detail for every account. You have to figure out if those characters are good, right? If you're tier 3, if you're tier 3 and transcending like 10 characters and you're weighing that versus one tier 4, but the characters that you're tier 3 and transcending are Molten Man and Hydro Man and Iron Fist and Morbius and Wiccan and some of the Hellstorm, these characters are just garbage. These characters are frankly just garbage. Even like Hyperion, whatever, Hawkeye, Daredevil. Now, sure, you can make an argument that some of these characters, but they're going to get reworks. They're going to get tier 4 soon, Alex. Sure, and I'm sure a lot of people thought Blade was going to get a tier 4 by now because wasn't the movie supposed to come out this year or early next year? That shit ain't never coming out, dude. Yeah. So there's a bit of risk involved with taking that approach. I'm not saying it's a bad approach. I'm just saying that you need to know the risk involved. You need to consider it because although it's just one character, the tier 4 support gives you immediate value. Again, you can make a sort of lesser decision. I'm not going to call it a bad decision, but you could make a lesser decision by tier 4ing like Hulkbuster or X-23 or somebody like that or Cyclops. Yeah, you could kind of come away with a bad tier 4. That's your choice. Play the game the way that you want to play it. I'm not going to say that you need to be a meta chaser. I'm just saying if you want to make the absolute most out of this choice, whether you choose left or right, and then which characters you choose from within the lists, depending on your roster, you should probably consult a tier list video or some sort of guide. Doesn't have to be mine. Can be somebody else's. Can be on a website. Can be on a Discord server or whatever. Wherever you trust the most that the information is accurate and it's going to represent, the way that you want to play your account and the way that you best, excel at the game and sort of enjoy it, then that's the one you should do. But I think it's it's an amazing event. It's a very interesting decision for some players. It's a bit of a no-brainer for other players. And, I'm very curious to hear how you guys are liking the event and who you've chosen for either the left or the right. Most of the people that I've met, if I'm going to be honest, have chosen the right side and just gone with one tier 4, which is cool. But I almost find the left side more fascinating. And in some ways, I wish I had a different account so that I could take advantage of that because I just remember what it was like when you could tier 3 a lot of characters fast and it's just, you're booming. You're just like, oh man, all these kind of useless characters suddenly have value. And you can basically do that now. So yeah, I in a way, a small bit of envy, but in a positive way for the players that can choose and should choose the left side. I don't think it's a guarantee that everyone should choose the right side. But hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be choosing the right side here. Boom. And I'm going to be using it on Quicksilver. I think that's my decision. I was debating between Quicksilver and Odin. I think I'm going to choose Quicksilver. Just because I want to get the most value out of the discount itself. There certainly are arguments to be made for just choosing a better character, and certainly for my account, considering a tier 4 weapon hex, Captain America's probably a better choice. Agent Venom's not a bad choice at all for the symbiote lineup, but I'm just trying to squeeze the most amount of value, save the most amount of Carbonadium and Soul of the Falcon as possible. So I'll probably be choosing Quicksilver, but I'll sort of talk it over with a few people before I make my final decision because I have like 11 days. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content. Good luck with your bingos. Hey, yo. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.